quick, graph y equals 4 minus x cubed by hand, 2 different ways. This is part of the Family of Functions series. You will need graph paper, or you can download this PDF and print it. Press pause as needed anytime during this video. First, we need to decide what the parent function is and its shape. So this is the cubic function, and this is its shape. We have to keep that in mind while we're doing this. Identify the parameters. Those are the values in the expression that affect the graph. But first, we're going to rewrite the equation in a more useful equivalent form. So we're going to write it as the opposite of x cubed plus 4 instead. In that way, we can identify the parameters, I think, a little bit more easily. How do those parameters affect the graph? The plus 4 shifts every point up 4 units. It affects y coordinates. It adds 4 to each y value. The opposite takes the opposite of each y value. So both of those parameters affect y coordinates only. What do we consider first? Well, we suggest plotting what we call the point of inflection first. And the point of inflection is right here, normally at the origin. And by definition, this is where the curve changes from concave down, like a frown, to concave up, like a smile, where it changes concavity. So normally, again, I said that was at the origin. And the x-coordinates are not affected by this at all. But the y-coordinate says take the opposite and then add 4. So it's going to be at 0, 4 is where that point of inflection is going to be. From this point is where we'll do the cubic dance. That's going to be our key point to start from. Keep in mind we have to use the opposite sign because that will put points going in the opposite direction from where they normally go. So instead of right 1, up 1 like we would do on a cubic graph, we need to go right 1, down 1 because of that opposite direction, because of that negative sign. Instead of right 2, up 8, it's going to be right 2, down 8 because of that opposite in the y direction. Instead of left 1, down 1, it's going to be left 1, up 1, opposite direction again, and left 2, down 2 becomes left 2, up 8. Connect the points to look like a cubic graph, and it's kind of going the other direction just because of the negative sign, and it's shifted up 4. Point of inflection is at 0, 4. It's concave up here, and after that it's concave down, changes concavity. Compared to the parent function, that's in blue. Second way, using a table. These are our 5 key points in the cubic graph. The plus 4 affects the y values, and the negative sign affects the y values, so we can keep the x values the same. They're not affected by either of the 2 parameters. And by the order of operations, we do the opposite first, and then we add 4. So the opposite of 8 is negative 8, plus 4 is negative 4. And you can see that calculation right here. Plot 2, negative 4. We're going to go ahead and ask you to finish the table and plot the points and finish the graph. Press pause and then resume when you're ready. So again, we took the opposite of 1, which is negative 1, added 4, got negative 3. So positive 3, 1, positive 3. The opposite of 0 is 0, plus 4 is 4, 0, 4, y-intercept. Opposite of negative 1 is positive 1, plus 4 is 5, so negative 1, comma 5. And the opposite of negative 8 is 8, plus 4 is 12, so negative 2 up to positive 12. Connect the points to make it look like a cubic curve going in the other direction, and we compare it to the parent function. Now you try one. Graph y equals negative 1 minus x cubed using either method or both of them for the practice. Press pause to do this and resume when you're finished to check your answer. And here's the answer in green compared to the parent function with both the table and the graph.